Good morning, YouTube. All right, well, we're continuing on with the 348, trying to get that there. And as is tradition with any time you work on a car, nothing goes to plan. So let me tell you what's going on and why it's been a frustrating morning.
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop.
So the first thing that went wrong was we were trying to get the belts to the correct tension, and
So the early cars didn't do it by frequency.
Okay.
They did it by load and deflection of the belt. They didn't start doing frequency until a little bit later. So they use a Stager tensiometer, which has an arbitrary value on it. The other manual gives you kilograms of pressure for deflection. So this is a really cheap, old school Gates belt tensioner.
huh. Okay, and you
So-
just push on it. Oh, cool.
So according to that, it only took 20 kilograms of force to deflect the belt.
Huh.
And the book spec is about 50.
Whoa.
So that's what happened there. Is I handed this to Timo and said, all right, let's double check the belt tension. And the tensioner bottomed out before this got over 30 kilograms.
Yeah.
And then he gave it one more good twist, trying to get it all the way, and popped the bracket apart.
Yeah,
So
so
we've learned a couple things this morning. One, this is not accurate for this application. And number two, it takes very little to break the tensioner bracket for the alternator. So
I think it's an aluminum bracket, right?
yeah.
Well, so let me show you. This is the bracket, and yeah, that sucks. I have a feeling, sorry Tim, your wallet's gonna be unhappy.
No, actually, Josh's buddy can weld that. So
What?
yeah,
No way, you can weld aluminum?
yeah. Thank God, because that's
Oh wow.
that's one of the unobtainium brackets that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons why I own a TIG welder. Is for having
aluminum?
aluminum bracket repairs on these older cars. I've done a few. A friend of mine is a far superior welder than I am. He is a professional welder. I've seen him weld up cylinder heads and things like that
Holy
quite
crap.
nicely. So I'm gonna hit him up first before I do my ghetto welding on it and see if he'll give me an hour of his time to do a really nice job on it.
So there's one other thing we ran into, another snag, which is this is where the subframe actually connects to the car, and you can see these are the holes. And there's two things we noticed. One, this hole is not the same as the others. So clearly this one's been drilled out and helicoiled or something. So that's not the same thread, it's a different size bolt. But a more interesting problem is, and it's maybe not going to show up on camera very well, is if you look, hold on, let me stand back here. If you look at the metal right around the bolt, you can actually see the bolts have pulled the metal. And look at this. Look at it, see how it rocks? Wow, it is way off.
Whereas
So
over here,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that one's perfectly flat. So that's yeah, that's not so good. So we're gonna beat the living bejesus out of it. I'm gonna stay back. It's gonna be loud. It's getting there.
Unfortunately, the Sawzall won't work in this application.
That was it. That was nice.
it's just sheet metal.
No kidding.
Yep.
Wow, that's pretty thin stuff then. Okay.
Yep.
It was just that side, not this side?
Yep.
So obviously we don't want it to have any bulges when we're mounting that subframe up there, because then it's not going to sit properly. We're not going to have good torque specs. We're going to have to put the alternator bracket back in once it's in there, because we really want to start putting that up there where it belongs. Nice. Coming down. So the really fun part is see those coolant lines right there? The coolant right there connects to the hoses that are,
Here and here.
yeah,
Go down here and here.
they connect right on the front of the motor, and pretty much you just kind of smash it right
Are we
onto
gonna be able
them.
to get that Z pipe on there later?
Yeah, it's not gonna be fun, but we can do it.
This is gonna suck really bad, but it's possible. Two shall become one.
He kind of reminds me sometimes of Anchorman.
Oh, yeah.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
When he doesn't know what to do with his hands in front of the camera. Why'd you do that?
Mm.
My hands were confused.
Watch my head.
Stuff is doing stuff.
Stuff is doing stuff. It's an official term.
Yeah, I learned that in my factory training.
I kind of have to laugh that we've got 4 Freys inside and an engine out in 2 of them and transmission out in another one. Oh, and there's another one outside that just doesn't even move. Yeah, this is just your hobby shop.
Yeah, I just do this for fun, for beer money.
You gotta pull those ECU wires through that hole. The computers actually sit in those 2 little spots.
Yep. Yeah, all but.
Kind of weird because as you drop the car lower, you have to kind of pull the wires a little bit and drop it and pull it and drop it and pull it and so on. So you can see there's the air conditioner lines that will connect to those hoses right there. You got this big oil cooler line that connects to this oil radiator. The wiring harnesses going right through the firewall right there. Got those coolant hoses that gotta connect. They're right up there. Oh, let's see, he's pulling that guy. And then we got the shock towers mate there. And then you see that bolt there will match that one. So it's getting close. We're about a half a foot away. Go for it. Oop,
Oh, I
something
didn't
hit.
feel good.
Something touched.
Contact!
Contact!
Towards the
It
driver's
needs to
side a
go
bunch.
this way. There it goes.
Oh, yeah.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
There it goes. Ooh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but
Ready?
Yep.
Oh, it started to self-align a little. Whoa.
I didn't like the sound of that.
That was the tray.
the trolley moving. It's really, really close right now.
Yeah.
Do not try this at home. Come on. There we go.
Oh,
There we go.
there
That
it
felt
is.
good.
Nice.
The engine needs to rotate like this to get that back bolt in. So, yeah, kick that side. Oh, almost. There you go.
There it is. Oh. Oh.
Ugh.
God, that makes crazy sound.
Yeah, if this was a professional shop, we would have taken more time to level the car and level the lift and level everything, but this is not professional, so we're doing it the way you'd be doing it at home if you did it yourself, which is making it work.
Good enough?
Alright, top one's on. There we go.
Sweet.
I don't know how to handle my hoses.
You're good with the hose. It's very scientific. Oh man, it's so close. I can see the holes start to align when you do that. It's a big giant bar.
No, the big giant one's still in the toolbox.
Special alignment tool.
Look at
Oh
you.
wow, that went right in.
Nice, dude.
Well done.
Ease off. Ease it. Yes.
Not quite.
No.
When the car can't come down to meet the engine, you push the engine up to meet the car.
Correct. It's important for life to be a two-way street for success.
Stupid boat.
Oh, right there, right there. Right.
By the hammer. I'd hammer in the morning.
All right, wiggle it.
Presto. Like a glove.
Like a glove.
Tim, you ruined the shot. You ruined my shot, Tim.
That's what she said.
So admittedly, that was much less nerve-wracking than pulling the car off the engine. When you're pulling it off, if you forgot anything, you're gonna like pull a hose or a wire or break something. Coming down, short of something being in the way and getting pinched, all the wires are kind of like tucked up out of the way, so you know, it goes pretty smooth. A little bit of jiggling car and hammers and, you know. Yeah. Stand clear.
I say, yeah, let's just make sure that everything stays balanced, okay?
Ooh. Well, she's floating.
Give it a jiggle. Yep.
She's flying again.
Baby got her booty back.
We got her booty back. So we're using a really tall jack stand to just kind of push the frame up just a little bit to get it aligned so we can get those frame bolts in the right spot.
Yeah, I actually was able to loosen it a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Now with all the weight off it, you know, not being on the cart.
It kind of fall in the right place.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, because I got 4 bolts in on this side, so it's kind of resting on those 4.
Sure.
And it found its own home.
Are you too good for your home? So Josh is playing with the official Ferrari service guide. So everyone keeps saying, oh, it's 3 years, oh, it's 5 years, oh, it's 4 years. And the official guide actually says 2 years, or 40,000 kilometers, which is approximately 25,000 miles, is when you're supposed to do the belt change. Which is freaking crazy.
You're supposed to check, basically everything is supposed to be checked and replaced as needed. According to the factory maintenance guide, right, 40,000 kilometers is your cam belt service interval by a mileage. Going by that, change the engine oil and filter, check the gearbox oil level, check the tension of your alternator and AC belts, change it every tube, check the spark plugs and replace if necessary, check your valve clearances, adjust if necessary, clean out the blow-by system, check the cooling system connections and hoses.
Shrimp soup, shrimp stew, shrimp salad, shrimp and potatoes, shrimp burger, shrimp sandwich.
Check the injection system, connections and hosing, inspect pipes and connections of the secondary air injection system, replace your fuel filters, check your evap emission control system, replace your engine air filter, tighten the screws, nuts and bolts, including those on the exhaust system, connections, clips and strips in general. Check your carburation and emission concentration, check your brake and clutch fluid levels, inspect all of your brake system, inspect your wear on your brake pads and rotors, check your brake pedal free play, check the operation of your handbrake and adjust as necessary, check your front and rear suspension joints and their tightening. So basically when you do a full chassis nut and bolt is what we would call it, where you put a ratchet and a wrench on every piece of hardware on the bottom side of the car and make sure it's all, you know, torqued. I like this one. Check car attitude and adjust if necessary.
What you talking about?
That's my favorite thing to do to Ferraris, is adjust their attitude.
Yeah, you gotta yell at them.
Yeah, usually they're a little out of spec. Inspect the air conditioning system, check the level of oil in the compressor, check and lubricate controls and adjusters in general, like hinges, doors, bonnet, engine cover, check correct operation and securing of the seats and belts, check your battery state of charge, connections and electrolyte level. I really don't understand what it is that people are confused about, why a major service takes a whole lot of time. This is pretty plain right here in black and white.
A lot of shit.
Check the starter, motor, current drain, and alternator charge. Check your headlights adjustment. Check and protect the chassis. And by protect, they mean the undercoating or cosmoline. And they actually want you to reapply that every 2 years. When the work has been carried out, check the tire pressures and their condition, the indicators on the dashboard, the lights and stoplights, and road test the car. And then after road test, make sure that the wheels are tight. So that is the factory checklist for a 40,000 kilometer major service.
That is a ridiculous amount of stuff.
So really, if you want to think about that list and the amount of work we've done here, the only thing extra we've technically done is the tensioner for the oil pump drive chain. It's about the only work we've done that's not listed on
Other than the valves.
Hey, Josh.
Well, you know, we're gonna ignore that part of the conversation.
Right, the rest of it.
Everything else we've done, like servicing the AC compressor, servicing the alternator, pulling the intake manifold and replacing the hose barb and sensors and hoses under there that are often ignored. All of these things that we've done, addressing the secondary error, which we remedied by removing it from the car since it's no longer necessary. All of these things are actually bullet point items on the factory cam belt service to-do list every 2 years. And as you see, most of it doesn't just say do this, and do this. There's like 4 things it says definitely do. Everything else it says
check and replace if
check
necessary.
and replace as needed. So when you have a car that's 27 years old and nobody's checked or replaced any of these items, when you check them, they most often need to be replaced. Now that they've been replaced, the car will probably go another 20 years without needing quite this level of a service.
Badass right there.
So enjoy your $4,000 major service where you guys did only 4 of the items on the list and didn't bother to look at and consider any of the other items. Enjoy that.
It's the fuel line. So the fuel line is to go to the fuel filter.
Yeah. It goes on remember that really long stud on the cam cover where
There it
it
is.
poked through the nut? You didn't really understand why that one stud was extra long?
There it is.
Oh yeah.
That done be where your fuel line bracket goes there,
View
Timo.
bell.
Go ahead and connect that sucker right there, buddy.
So the fuel pumps go right in there. That hole. This one's the big one. So you'll notice we're leaving the fuel pump drain plugs out because we don't have the O-ring for it. So we have to order that part. So we're gonna leave the plugs out so we don't accidentally forget to put that in. So basically if we try and fill it up, fuel's just gonna dump everywhere and it'll remind us really, really quickly that we don't have an O-ring in there. All right, get the little sump line. That goes straight to the old sump. Oh! Got yourself some Earl. Like the more Texan you are, the closer oil doesn't sound like oil. It sounds like Earl. Earl. Donuts. All right.
Not these nuts.
Donuts. Not these nuts. It's part number 154984. It's technically the gasket that goes right after the headers. And that reminds me, if you didn't know, which you should, this video was sponsored by Ricambie. So RicambieAmerica.com is awesome. You go check out their website. It's RicambieAmerica.com. Go use the code NGS10. You'll get 10% off your entire order because they're badasses. That's right. Ricambie America has tons of parts for Ferrari and Maserati. Pretty much the only place to get my parts from. And I was doing that before they sponsored me. So, you know, it's pretty badass that they sponsor me now. No catalytic converters, X-pipe. It's going to sound glorious. Glorious. And it's tune length. Holy crap, man. This is going to be badassery. Oh.
That's just car porn there.
Yeah, this is Smiles right here. Old O2 sensors. So we're going to put in the new, well, the ones that are already on Tim since we know those are good and we don't know if these are good. Tim is not having fun now.
Dude, he's rounding that one too.
Jesus. We have to get those off now because it's officially worthless. I don't think... Dude, Sparks! Victory! Woohoo!
Yeah, now we gotta chase the threads.
Let's say those threads hosed. It's kind of like a test fit. Alright, now we bolt all this stuff up on the top, so lots of hoses and wires and stuff.
If it was just a normal one, I may have been able to do it, but the extra shit, yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely some tricky stuff we did and the extra stuff that was like, ooh.
Yeah, without help, I would have.
And I think
Even with my help, we still tore some shit up.
Can't tell you how much I've learned. Some of it's frustrating,
but it
but
makes you appreciate what the hell, you know, when you got these guys charging tens of thousands of dollars to this, it makes you really say, oh yeah,
And you get a guy
Dude, early.
calling you every week, is it done yet? Is it
Yeah.
done yet?
You go
Is
in.
it done yet?
Now you see why. No, it's not.
I know,
son.
where is that guy? Why is he not here today?
He was out of town this weekend.
Why am I have to do all this?
Jeremy, where are you? Now we're working on a car. Do you want to put something on the motor so you don't hurt yourself? Okay.
Trying to see where that thing goes. Right there. It goes on my
Should be a
side
little-
of that.
There should be a little groove.
I don't see a groove in it. Go for it, dude.
And the suspense builds.
Oh, yeah, I can see the groove in the camera.
Yeah.
Done?
Yep.
Sweet.
These are the sorts of tasks that can very quickly annihilate half of an afternoon, and then you wonder where all your time went.
Oh, yeah.
Or why
That
it's
seat
not
goes,
done yet.
ping,
Yep.
and you go,
Yep.
And there are suddenly a lot of quacks.
yes. Yeah, and then Dan's editing skills get used.
There's a whole family of ducks skittering around the floor of the shop suddenly.
Where'd all these ducks come from? I need to find a long quack, because every once in a while you get someone that goes, get on there. I did something. All filter. Should have the foot-pound or the Newton meter spec on it. Yeah.
There you go. Hill Engineering filter socket tool available from Ricambie of America. Used with my favorite 3/8 drive torque wrench and an adapter. Torque to 30 Newton meters.
That is the most massive oil filter tool ever.
They are worth their weight in gold when you get one that someone's really cranked on there and didn't lubricate to seal it all.
Oh yeah,
And it takes everything you've got to remove.
I can
These
see
are
that.
really nice to have.
I bet. And you can throw it at someone and kill them.
Yes.
All right, I think that wraps up for today. So the engine's actually coming along really well. I mean, we still got a lot of stuff to do. We got to put in the exhaust. We got to put in some few bolts that we lost or broke along the way. Fluids in. We got to purge the brake lines and the clutch line and cooling in, oil in. And we've got AC charge. Oh, the AC lines, are those connected? Battery, electrical stuff, a few more things. Got the intake assembly, but we're missing a few parts for the fuel system, so we have to get those parts ordered. We got some O-rings to order, so a few parts coming from Ricambie America. So again, go visit ricambieamerica.com, use the code NGS10, you're gonna get 10% off because they're badass. They're hooking you guys up, so go do that. We'll be doing more car stuff. You're gonna want to stay tuned. Subscribe, like and share this video. All right, guys, we'll see you then. It's gonna be sweet.